Okay, so we've all heard the story, right? The robots are coming for our jobs. But what if that's just not the whole picture? What if it's the wrong story entirely? Today, we're going to explore a totally different idea, one where AI isn't our replacement, but our partner. So let's get into it. I mean, this is the question, isn't it? It's everywhere, in the headlines, in our conversations, and it kind of feels this low-level anxiety for a lot of us. The idea of mass automation, it's a big, scary concept. It feels like this unstoppable wave coming to just wipe out whole careers. But is that really what's happening? What does the data actually say? Yeah, not even close. Seriously. Let's just hit the pause button on that anxiety for a second. According to a recent report from Indeed, only 1% of job skills are considered fully transformable by generative AI. You know, the AI that writes stuff and makes pictures. Just 1%. That number, it just completely changes the conversation, doesn't it? And if you look closer at the breakdown, it gets even more interesting. 40% of skills, barely any change. Another 19% are assisted, and then a whopping 40% are hybrid. That means a human is still absolutely central to the whole process. So the big takeaway here isn't replacement. It's reinforcement. It's about making us better. So here's the plan for today. We're going to tackle that automation anxiety, talk about what augment, not automate really means, look at AI as a co-pilot in the wild, and then think about our symbiotic future together. All right, let's dive into the first big idea. This is really the heart of it all. We have to completely reframe how we think about AI. We've got to shift from automation to augmentation. It's a huge change in mindset. And this slide just lays it out so clearly. Automation? The goal is to take the human out of the task. It's all about replacement for the sake of efficiency. But augmentation? That's the complete opposite. It's designed to keep the human right in the center of the action. The goal isn't to replace you, it's to empower you, to supercharge what you can do. And look, this isn't just some nice theory we're talking about, it's what's actually happening. As Thomas Davenport from MIT points out, most of the time when companies implement AI, it ends up being some form of augmentation. They're not using it to fire people, they're using it to make their people better, faster, and yeah, even more creative. In fact, this idea is so important that some really big players are changing their language around it. Take the American Medical Association. They don't even like the term artificial intelligence. They prefer augmented intelligence. Why? Because they want to make it absolutely crystal clear that these tools are there to support doctors, not to replace their judgment. So what does this actually look like day to day? Well, you can think of it like a three-step dance. Step 1, the human leads. You're the one with the vision. You choose the tool. You craft the prompt. You're the director. Step 2, the AI does the heavy lifting. It produces the code, the text, the design, the raw material. And then, for the crucial final step, it comes back to the human. You evaluate, you refine, you integrate. You're still the one in control. Okay, so that's the theory. Augmentation, not automation. But what does this co-pilot thing look like out in the real world? Let's get into some actual examples. Take medicine, for example. Here, AI is literally like a second set of tireless, super-powered eyes. It can scan retinal images to spot signs of diabetic retinopathy. It can analyze ECGs to find heart abnormalities a person might miss. It can even check ultrasounds for potential issues. But, and this is the key, it's not making the final call. It's a partner, an assistant that handles the tedious stuff, which frees up doctors to do what they do best, focus on their patients. And you can actually measure the impact of this. The numbers are pretty amazing. Research from Microsoft shows that with AI help, customer service agents are resolving 14% more issues every hour. Artists and designers are creating 25% more stuff. And get this, scientists are discovering new materials 44% faster. This isn't replacement, it's amplification. It's a total game changer. But okay, numbers are one thing. What does it actually feel like to work this way? Well, a study with creative writers is really telling. When they used a flexible co-pilot model, they didn't just say it was a useful tool. No, they called it a true partnership, something that actually sparked more creativity. So if we're going to think of AI as our partner, that means we're basically in a relationship with it. And just like any other relationship, you can't just let it happen. It needs to be designed. We have to be intentional about it. Because let's be real, this symbiotic future isn't automatically going to be perfect. There are some serious risks involved, and we have to face them head on if we're going to get this right. It's not all sunshine and productivity boosts. Okay, so here's one of the biggest risks. It's a concept called mechanized convergence. Look at these diagrams. They explain it perfectly. On an individual level, you might feel way more creative. You're exploring all these new avenues with the help of AI. But on a group level, since everyone is using similar AI tools that have been trained on similar data, all of our ideas start to, well, converge. They become more homogeneous. The overall diversity of thought actually goes down. And this isn't theoretical. That same research with writers, it showed that when they let the AI do too much of the early brainstorming, their stories all started to sound the same. They all started to cluster around the most popular genres that the AI was trained on. So what's the takeaway? Human involvement, especially in those early creative stages, is absolutely crucial to keep things fresh and diverse. So how do we stop that from happening? How do we manage these risks? Well, we need a framework, a set of rules. Here's a great one with 3 core principles. First, accountability. A human has to be responsible, period. You can't just say the algorithm did it. Second, verification. We have to be able to check the AI's work to understand how it got to its answer. And third, alignment. You only bring in AI where it actually helps with your real goals, not just because it's the new shiny thing. And all of this brings us back to the biggest question of all. This technology isn't just a tool anymore. It's really becoming a partner. So the choice we have to make isn't if we partner with AI, but how we do it. The future isn't just something that's going to happen to us. It's something we have to actively build. So the question for all of us is, what kind of partnership are we going to choose?